rising sun or moon for 2025 and 26. I hope this video will help you to prepare for the years ahead. We have got major shifts going down, so I feel like you need guidance. And therefore, I decided to offer a Christmas promotion, 50% discount on all my readings, all my courses and webinars. So if that's something it is in interest for you, then you might want to go on my website, AstroViktor.com, and check it out. And please show your gratitude. Like the video, comment on it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so I can prepare more free content for you. Let's have a look at how this 2025 is looking like. I mean, one of the biggest shifts for you is surely the Pluto and the Mars opposition, which is going to be pretty much coloring up the first half of the year. Whether we are looking at the modern ruler or the traditional ruler of Scorpio, but both of them are Pluto and Mars, right? So they are in a constant opposition. So let's break that down for you in depth. First of all, Mars has already gone retrograde and it's going to be doing a bit of retrograde in the sign of Leo, and then it's going to be doing some in the sign of Cancer. And it feels like that with the Mars retrograde, you're going to have to be looking at your professional aspirations. Maybe you have been doing something for a very long time, and it's been kind of feels like that it's outdated. So it tells you that we need to have a different approach, for example, to our business. We need to be able to come up with new strategies. Maybe we need to be using something that we had done in the past, but we kind of haven't applied it for a while. So we would need to go back and then maybe reapply those techniques so that your business can take further. Now, of course, not everyone is a business person. So this might be talking about just your professional realm, where there could be tension, for example, where you might feel stuck, you're not getting the promotion anymore. Maybe the operation of the company is not your cup of tea. Maybe it feels like that you need a change. Maybe it feels like that, you know what, there needs to be something in my life which is going to kick my butts to move forward. So it looks like that we're going to have to kind of update our CV. We're going to have to come up with a career plan. Now, this is also possible, though, that what you need to be doing, because Mars is going to be shifting back into your ninth house, that you're going to have to be picking up new skills. So you might want to go back to study. You might want to study something just to kind of take your career to the next level. And that would be one of the first steps I would recommend if you want to boost your career level. But also Mars in Leo is about courage. So if you feel stuck, that it's been going on for a while, I'm not moving forward, this is pretty much telling you that you need to unstuck yourself. This is telling you to be strong. This is telling you to take risks in your career department. That is highly important. Also, with Mars in your career house, that could be potentially bringing you something like family feuds as well, especially with Pluto being in your fourth house and then having this opposition and ongoing opposition. So you might need to be calming down your nerve a little bit. There could be a lot of frustration at work. And then you might want to be making kind of like a life-altering decision, but often we act on our anger. So it's very potential that you're just going to say goodbye to your work and then you want to start fresh, but maybe it comes with regrets later on. Maybe your family doesn't agree with all the changes that you want to be making because they think that it's very impulsive and so on, and then you don't feel supported by them. So that's the reason why it could become a source of a tension between you and your family members or people that you live together. Also, maybe it shows impatience that you would like to achieve something quicker. And then you keep running into certain type of obstacles. And then you feel like that you have used up all the tactics, you've made the necessary changes, and then things are just not coming forward. So maybe this is the reason why you want to be walking away from this. Definitely, there is this heat going on, but it's more to do with an internal heat. This could even indicate that you want to be discovering your passion. What could be, uh, the path that I want to be on? So it looks like that your long-term goals are going to be changing quite significantly in the upcoming um, 6 months. Now, on top of that, Pluto is in your home, family, roots, foundation, the past, and the house of emotional stability. So maybe what happens here is that there is a struggle to kind of balance out your private life with your professional life. Maybe you would like to make big changes in your home, but you have got all these responsibilities at work. And then it is kind of like making you struggle of balancing things out. This could, for example, also indicate that there are kind of like relationship patterns within your family and your home environment that you want to be working on. So there is a psychological aspect to it as well. And I'd like to mention that especially that will be the case if family issues started to occur, for example, from 2020, 21 onwards until about 23, because Saturn have gone through or did go through your fourth house as well. And then now Pluto is making that or intensifying that. Some of you, unfortunately, can be losing a loved one as well. I need to mention that also. And maybe it's about the reevaluation of your family life, your home environment. Maybe actually you want to be relocating, for example, because of a better work opportunity. But I would say that from a karmic point of view, this is about kind of like readjusting your ancestral karma. So Mars is about exploring now what the holdback is, what is the trauma within the family, and then eventually it would be about cutting that out. So definitely Pluto is pushing you to face certain type of old patterns, old traumatic experiences that is no longer should be part of your life. And then Mars is the planet who is going to be actually energizing it or helping you to cut that out. But this is happening in fixed signs. Often it comes with a lot of stubbornness. And I would say that with Pluto, being stubborn is never a good strategy because eventually it's going to be destroying something in your life to awaken you. So definitely there is a need here to make these profound changes in your life. On top of that, this could even indicate something to do with happiness because the fourth house is the foundation of life. It's about the inner peace. It's about happiness, physically, emotionally, psychologically as well. So this could indicate that I would like to be kind of working on my internal peace. For example, by spending a lot more time with my loved ones alone and so on. And unfortunately, Mars is kind of like pushing you to take care of your career department even more. There is old trauma there, which potentially it has not kind of grounded in your mind just yet. So do a lot of exploration around that. The fourth house is the end of life too. So this even can indicate that you need to be facing what death means. Maybe understanding that this is the natural cycle of life and people are leaving us, but we can actually find kind of like new people, not necessarily to replace them because loved ones cannot be replaced, but somehow they feel a void, right? So this is one of the biggest change for you. On top of that, the other one is actually Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is having an ongoing square, by the way, with Saturn. So I'm going to be breaking that down for you as well. But while Jupiter could be exciting because it's going to be trining your first house, And while Mars is doing this retrogression in the sign of Cancer, kind of like it's going to be handing it over to Jupiter. And then Jupiter is going to move into the sign of Cancer and then doing its miracle there. So if we don't deal with Mars in an appropriate way, such as cutting out those family matters, the emotional insecurities, and so forth, Jupiter could be magnifying those. And then we can get worried about the future. We can have anxieties, for example. We can become depressed, to be frank. We can kind of start looking for the meaning to life, but it's kind of like wandering about because we haven't done the planning just before yet. Now, Jupiter in your ninth house in a positive way, this would actually emphasize the need to study something. You kind of realize that, you know what, I need to be more optimistic. I need to be brave. uh, we become aware of the fact that there are inconveniences in life, but there is a solution to every single problem. Maybe you're gonna have a lot of opportunities to travel, to expand your horizon, to connect with foreigners, to connect with like-minded people. And also maybe it's all about you wanting to express your opinion. But in order for you to express your opinion, you decide that I need to be doing certain type of research. I need to get to know myself more. And surely this could be a case here that you wish to get to know yourself more on a deeper level because Pluto and Mars, both the representation of the self. And Jupiter in your ninth, trining the rising sign, could indicate that this is an opportunity to gain knowledge about yourself, to find inner voice. So there is definitely a lot of curiosity going on here. And you might be getting to know yourself through certain depth courses, spiritual courses. You might become more interested in psychological matters. Some of you even can become a grandparent as well. The first house is also grandparenting, and the ninth house is the grandchildren. So that's actually possible. In order for you to become successful, it looks like you're going to have to study something, or you have to be able to connect with foreigners, different cultures. So the relocation plan could be actually one of your primary goal this year. And you would do that from financial consideration point of view, because Jupiter is the ruler of your second house. And there is this desire to study so that my money can grow. There is this desire to study so that my self-esteem can get better. But also, it really feels like that you're gonna have to be able to pick up kind of like some advertising or promotional skills, because how to sell myself, how to promote my services. And you might learn a little bit more about that. And let's be frank, those are key success factors when it comes to a business opportunity. But as I mentioned, we've got this ongoing square going on between Jupiter and Saturn. Now, firstly, it is between Gemini and Pisces, which is very much about your fifth house and your eighth house, and then it's shifting into the sixth and the ninth. So this could actually talk to us about having a bit of a, power struggle going on, for example, between kind of like feeling limited as well as wanting to grow at the same time. There are certain type of fears that potentially are your blockages, and they need to be explored. Maybe you just don't know how to express the self, for example. Maybe you do not know that you've got certain type of talents, whether it's artistic talent or a talent of math and so forth, doesn't necessarily matter. It is an invitation to kind of figure out what your talents are. But once Jupiter and Saturn both are shifting signs, they are still continuing to have a square between them two. And that's going to be happening in your sixth and ninth house. So, for example, this could indicate that you move to a foreign country, just trying to fix up your life, for example, by that relocation. But also during travels, watch out for food poisoning, or do the appropriate research, for example, about what vaccinations I need and so forth, because health issues could be occurring um, in on foreign lands. But also, this might be an indication that you have actually acquired plenty of knowledge already, and then it still feels like I need to learn something. But Saturn would like you to actually compartmentalize those knowledge, to kind of sort them out, to test them out, whatever you have learned so far. Which one works for me and which one not? And maybe you want to be able to put your own spin on it. Now, another big shift, of course, is going to be Neptune and Saturn plus Venus being in the sign of Aries. And that is your sixth house. You might be wondering, okay, yeah, Venus, it only spends about 20 odd days in one sign. Yes, but this year, Venus is going to go retrograde. And there is going to be kind of like a Venus star point starting in 2 degree of Aries as well. So this is not just affecting you for a couple of months. This is actually about a 13-month period. So Venus is actually truly important this year in your sixth house. But let's break this down. So Neptune is making a shift. And Neptune it's kind of like the planet of illusion, confusion, and also yearning for something. So maybe you want to have a more organized life. What you need is, in a way, to know that I'm working from 9 to 7, for example, or 9 to 5, not having to have these upside down schedules and so forth, because it's taking a toll on your mental or physical health as well. Maybe you don't have a clear agenda about what you are meant to be doing at work. So I'm going to give you an example because I spoke to someone with a Scorpio rising sign, and basically the biggest issue the person has with the work they do, they love the work, but they don't have an agenda. So they are doing the garden, they are doing the coffee, they are doing this and that, and they never know when they are working or when not. And they are on the verge of actually resigning. And they spoke to the villa owner about this, and then, oh yeah, yeah, surely we're gonna sit down next year and then we're gonna talk about it. But it kind of feels like that life is, passing by. And okay, what does next year mean? Does it mean in 2 weeks' time or does it mean in a year time? So there's a confusion about what I'm meant to be doing. So there could be confusing situation happening in your work environment. Also, this could be surely a desire that I would like to be at a workplace which is more compassionate, more understanding, or even more spiritually fulfilling. It really feels like that maybe potentially because Saturn and Neptune together is about dreaming about something that I want to be giving shape and form to. So maybe you have always wanted to become a certain type of a healer. So you might start being interested in any type of holistic practices, for example, or you are trying to find a balance between your physical well-being as well as your spiritual well-being. And that's why you are going to be working on those matters. Now, as I mentioned, it's not only Neptune being in your sixth sign, but Saturn is also there too. And Saturn here, yes, potentially can bring you medical matters, coupled with Neptune, which is the planet of hospitals. So it really feels like that this year you're gonna also have to be focusing on your physical well-being, on your mental well-being. To kind of, and remember that Pluto and Mars opposition is also about your inner foundation. So I need you to figure out ways of how to get stronger on all those four levels. And we can do that by going to the gym, doing some purifications. We want to lose weight, we want to gain weight, and so forth, so that you can kind of prolong your life. But often with Neptune, the problem is that we just give up on these habits. And then Saturn would like you to stick to them, to be determined, to be focused, to have a plan. It doesn't want you to overdo things, though. While Neptune might think, oh, if I go to the gym 15 times a week, then, I'm going to be in the next Puff Daddy. And that's not necessarily the case, right? Saturn is telling you to be smarter. So have a borderline, how far I stretch myself, because the sixth house is also the house of accidents as well. Maybe what happens is that actually you feel like imprisoned in certain type of situations. There's a lot of pressure happening at work. There's a lot of routine that you might need to follow. And then it kind of seems impossible. Maybe because you are impatient and Saturn is telling you that, you know what, to let's say, get in a great shape, it does take time. So you're just going to have to practice few things. You're going to have to practice, for example, your diet. Because remember, Saturn is actually being squared by Jupiter as well, which is the representation of food in your personal chart. So maybe it's a little bit more difficult for you to say no to food. And then at the beginning of the transit, you see that you have started to put on weight. And then Saturn at one point, you know what, this is not working. So I need to be actually be determined about it. Okay. Also, Saturn is a planet of reality. So often what Neptune does, oh, I'm only going to be doing holistic health. But Saturn says there is nothing wrong with the traditional health either. So why we are not mixing them both? That would be very important. Also, Saturn is about time management. So in the sixth house, surely it is about having a schedule, managing your day-to-day routines, kind of like better, how to make the most of your own time. So kind of like knowing that I'm working from 9 to 5, 6 o'clock, I'm going to have dinner, 8 o'clock, I'm having a bath, 10 o'clock, I'm going to be sleeping. Neptune is the planet of sleep. So it's highly possible that you're going to have to be able to schedule more sleep for you, or you're going to have to be able to wake up on time. Let's say every morning I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to be doing a bit of a running, for example. There is surely this reflection that needs to be done here for you. Now, okay, Saturn has moved into your sixth house, but it's going to be retrograde and it's going to go back into your fifth. So Saturn in the fifth house pretty much wanted you to discover what you truly enjoy, what your hobbies are. And no matter how much work we've got, can we actually schedule those little hobbies that is going to be actually giving you a better self-esteem, confidence level, and then you feel like that it's actually you. So time management should be pretty much a focus of yours in the upcoming couple of years. And then Venus retrograde, right? So that is also quite a big one. So as I said, yeah, we might think that it's only just a couple of months, but actually it's going to be a lot longer this time around. And Venus is going to be retrograde in the sign of Aries also, which is actually your sixth house. So what can we say about that? I mean, Venus always has got desires. So there's a desire, for example, to be fit with Aries. There is kind of like, oh, I'm only going to get validated if someone recognizes that I don't know, I've built muscles, for example. But Venus is the planet of, or retrogrades actually, is the planet of like energies of reconsideration of something, revisiting something. So it's surely telling you again that you need to be revisiting how you approach all your health matters and work matters and the way you make money and so on. It kind of feels like to me with this Venus retrograde in your sixth house that a certain type of issues in connection to work relationships or money matters might be coming back into your life. So maybe you haven't been able to stand up for yourself that you deserve pay rise, for example. Maybe you've had issues in the past already with certain types of colleagues and so forth, and then you tried making a peace, but maybe it hasn't worked out, so the confrontation is potentially there. But maybe you're going to decide that I would like to have a business in connection to animals because that was always something that you have wanted to do. And then Venus retrograde might be bringing you a financial opportunity, actually. Also, it could indicate because Venus is the planet of money. So that a co-worker of yours, for example, owes you money, and then you would like them to give it back to you. Maybe actually you are meant to be getting certain type of like a bonus, for example, at work, which had been promised, let's say back in May or June, for example. Well, I'm mentioning the May because that's when we had the Mars and Saturn, sorry, Mars and Venus cycle started in the sign of Aquarius. So Venus now moving into the sign of Aries, potentially there's something got promised to you around that time. And then now, finally, it is actually coming your way. So that's actually possible. But there is a lot of dissatisfaction, it looks like it, with your work environment, with the way we make money, with yeah, how much money we can spend, for example, on healthier food and so forth. So there is a discomfort going on here, it looks like it. And then Aries is about action. So I'm not saying that you should be quitting your job. Many astrologers would say that, oh, don't do this during retrograde periods because you're gonna regret and so on. And to a certain extent, that's a possibility. But I would say that most likely there is a better opportunity out there for you, but you're just going to be having to have a proper look at it, like asking detailed question and so on. Maybe you are a business owner, and then definitely this is again about fixing up your business, your income, improving something to do with in your business could be ideal in 2026, 2025, sorry. And maybe this is going to be actually an indication that you're going to have to start hiring people because you are unable to kind of perform the duties on your own because there is a growth going on for you. New health, new exercise, new diet, new routines, all these could, or maybe you are going to be getting a new pet, for example. Now that's a possibility as well. We've got another big shift happening for you this year, by the way, and that is connected to Uranus. So Uranus is going to be shifting into the sign of Gemini. And even though it's going to be moving back into the sign of Taurus, so it's going to be back and forth between your 7th and 8th house. But from 2026 onwards, yes, we do have Uranus fully being in your 8th house. So let's explore that as well a little bit. Well, first of all, it can give you inheritance. I mean, with Pluto, Uranus trine going on in your 4th and 8th house, inheritance is possible, or potentially you would like to sell your home, and then unexpectedly, actually, there is a buyer for it. Maybe with that Uranus, you just find ways of kind of like eliminating your debts, for example, or suddenly you start a new job, a new business, and so forth, and then somehow you manage to secure your own financial situation. Maybe there is a breakthrough going on when it comes to your psychological makeup. All of a sudden, you kind of have an understanding, you know what, that's where the problem is coming from. So that's also somehow on the exciting level. And I would say that the psychological complexes is big because you had the South Node going through your 12th house as well for 18 months until January 2025. So you were meant to be exploring and letting go of bits and bobs in your subconscious. Now Pluto and Uranus is giving you the opportunity and even intensifying that for you. Maybe it's all about because Saturn was in your, or it's in your 5th house as well in 2025, and then Uranus moving into your 8th house. Potentially, this could indicate that we need to do a bit spicing up, for example, in our relationship. We need to spice up the bedroom experience. Maybe this is about trying to get pregnant. and then Uranus and Saturn actually could be granting that for you. Maybe you have been trying for a while and then it didn't happen, and Uranus can kind of indicate miracle babies. So maybe this is not a time when you need to be giving up on that. However, there is a negative manifestation of this as well. Unfortunately, your business can become bankrupted. You might need to be relying on, and typically I would say because Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto involved, these are because of political situations, for example. Also, it could indicate that you would like to cut chains from your business partner, or you don't want to be dependent on other people's money anymore. So you are working extremely hard on that. Maybe you have forgotten, unfortunately, submit your tax papers, or you get a tax bill, or maybe you can even put yourself into debt just by applying for mortgage and the loan because you want to be purchasing a home, for example. And you might have been experiencing certain type of emotional distance between you and your partner. And then once it goes into that eighth house, it could feel like that even the intimacy department is kind of dying off. So there is a barrier between the two of us. So unfortunately, some of you might be experiencing the loss of a partner as well, loss of a grandparent. So these are the hardest manifestation of this Uranus transit. So guys, we've got a big year ahead of us. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. Sorry about that. But we've got eclipses happening as well, right? The eclipses are going to be taking place in Virgo and Pisces. So that's your fifth and 11th house. So we've spoken about this quite a lot. You know, eclipses are magnifying glasses to a certain extent. It highlights something. So this is surely talking to you about, again, the topic of children, for example, the creative energy, what I'm passionate about, giving birth to a creative project, but also healing the inner child within you, or trying to be a little bit more childlike again. If you are single, this potentially could indicate that you are attracting a romantic partner, for example, who you're going to be having quite a lot of fun with. Yes, it could even indicate, unfortunately, breakup as well, just like Uranus back and forth between your seventh and eighth house. So, guys, enjoy 2025 and 26. And I hope this video helps. And then if it does, please press like, subscribe, comment, share the video, all those type of things. And if you need personal guidance, I'm here. Go ahead on my website and book it right now. Take care. Bye-bye.